Good day and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Fred Johnson. I am a customer success specialist here at CCI Learning, and today I'm going to walk you through the project management course on experienceed.com XED. So the first step in accessing the course, we go to experienceed.com and all users will be prompted to log in here. If you already have a login, fantastic. If you don't, you can click on this register option. Note that you can change the language of the interface to the language of your preference. At this point, you'll click on log in, and if you have an instructor that is already added to the course, you will see the course pop up here on your screen. So I will locate the PMI Project Management Ready course, and I will click on Go to Course. You'll note that the course is broken up into 6 units. Each of those 6 units is broken up into lessons, and each of those lessons is broken up into tasks. So this course was truly built for the modern learner. It was built to be self-paced. It was built so that you can work on your own and with an instructor. And you'll notice that it is broken into small tasks so that if you have 5 minutes to work on it, or if you have an entire class or an entire day to work on it, this can fit into your daily routine. So once again, you can adjust the language here. There's other language options if English and French aren't your first languages within in the Immersive Reader that I'll demonstrate. On the course dashboard here, you'll see who your instructor is, the name of your group, as well as your expiration date. But you'll also see on the right side your progress. This progress is not an indication of your performance, but it's simply an indication of how far you have progressed through the course. So this means I'm 36% of the way done. Over here on the right side of the screen, I'll see some progress indicators for each of my units. So for example, in Unit 1, I'm at 100%. It's complete, so it'll say finished. If I've started a unit but I have not finished, it'll say ongoing, and any units that I have not begun will say start. So you get a progress percentage indication on the left side, as well as a color and word indication on the right side. So let's go ahead and dive into one of these lessons. I'm going to start out with Unit 2, Leadership and Communication Fundamentals, and I'll click ongoing because I already started. This is where you'll see the unit broken up into multiple different lessons, and each of these lessons broken up into tasks. And at the end of each lesson, you'll see practice exercises that sum up the lesson, as well as practice questions. So practice exercises being more of a task and an activity, practice questions being more in the style of a quiz. And at the end of each unit, you'll get a unit summary, as well as unit assessments, including a create project. So diving into some of these activities, what do they look like? I'm going to start out on Unit 2, Lesson 4 here, and I'm going to go to the one called Project Management Ethics. So I'm right here, I'm on the second one. Now, a couple of notes on navigating through the course. As a learner, you can click on the task and click continue or start if you haven't started yet. And it's going to open up here on the right side. You'll see study materials and task that you can toggle in between. And then your study materials gives you additional learning opportunities here. Before we dive into those, a couple points on the navigation. As a learner, I can click next and previous to navigate to the next or previous task, or I can simply click on the task here inside of the navigation. However, if you are using a small screen and that screen space that you have is very valuable, and you don't want the navigation to take up that screen space, you can always close this navigation and you can bring it back by clicking navigation once again to give you some additional space. So again, I can close that and reopen it and navigate through my course by clicking next or previous, or simply clicking on the individual tasks themselves. Upon entering a task, I'll see study materials and a task. I'll also see this bookmark icon. This bookmark icon will really assist me if I am working through the course. I need to stop. Maybe my class ended, maybe I'm done for the day and I'm going to close my laptop or turn off my computer and come back to it tomorrow. If I click the bookmark, rather than having to find where I left off, I can click the bookmark, go back to the dashboard and click go to bookmark, or even go back to the course dashboard with all of my courses and click bookmark, and it will take me directly to where I left off. So I'm going to slide back to the study materials for this project management ethics activity. And I want to point out that within your study materials, you'll see 3 different options. That's by design. The idea is that you have an option for every learning style. So the ebook is going to be a short chunk of text. You'll notice that it doesn't go beyond what you see on this page, so there's no scrolling involved in this particular example. So this is a short reading. Quick Deck is similar to flashcards, where as a learner you can toggle through and learn the material this way. And you have a quick clip, which is going to be a short video, under 2 to 3 minutes maximum. You'll see the video here, and it includes excuse me, closed captions for accessibility. Speaking of accessibility, when it comes to these three, as a learner, you are not required to complete all three. You can choose your preferred learning style. And you'll notice that at the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the speaker icon everywhere in XED. The speaker icon is the Immersive Reader. This is a Microsoft tool that is built into XED no matter what platform or browser you're using. And it is a powerful reading tool for all types of learners. So when you click on the Immersive Reader, you'll notice that it changes the interface. So you've got the text that you had on that previous page. And as a learner now, you can click
Project Management Ethics
and listen to the text. You can adjust the voice settings to make it go faster or slower, change it from female to male. And then in the upper right, you'll see additional tools. So I can click Text Preferences and change the size to make the text larger or smaller. I can increase the spacing. I can adjust the font. And then here you can change a theme or a background color. This is really helpful for our learners who are dyslexic. Changing that background color can really ease the reading process. In the middle here we have grammar options, and then on the right side, my personal favorite, the reading preferences. I can choose a line focus to focus on a few lines at a time. I can provide a picture dictionary, and this is, I think, one of the most powerful tools is the translate option. So the project management course at the time of this recording is available in English and French. But if your first language is other than English or French and you want to access the content in that language, you can click here, and all of the languages that Microsoft translates into are available, so you will see hundreds of languages here. And another great advantage is it does include dialects as well. So for example, Portuguese, you'll see an option for Brazilian Portuguese or Portugal Portuguese, as well as multiple options for Spanish. So if I'm accessing this course and I want to access it in Brazilian Portuguese, I can click to translate the document. And now I can read or listen to this text in another language.
Ética em gerenciamento de projetos.
So this meets a lot of accessibility requirements. And then if I am, let's say, for example, learning English from Portuguese, I can click original and see it in the original English and go back and forth to start connecting the words. If you're an instructor, I highly recommend demoing this Immersive Reader on a daily basis to increase engagement. Upon completing the study materials, you can click on the task, and this will take you to a task to complete. You'll see a variety of different tasks built into our courses in XED. Some will be interactive videos like this. You'll see multiple choice, fill in the blank, true, false, drag and drop, simulations, scenarios. The idea is to keep it moving and keep different types of activities coming. So in this particular example for the interactive video, the learner will watch part of the video, answer a question, continue to watch, and continue to answer questions until completion. And the instructor has the option to turn on or off this show solution option to provide students with the opportunity to check their work. That is the instructor's preference. Upon completing an activity, I will get immediate feedback. I'll go to another example for that. So at this point, I can move on to the next activity by clicking here or clicking next. And for this one, if I click on a response and click check, I will get immediate feedback. I'll get a summary of when my attempt was, and I can get further details. And then if my instructor has provided multiple attempts, I can click retry or show solution. Both of these, the instructor can turn on and off. And navigating to the next activity, you'll see another type of activity here, which is a simulation where I'm going in and going through a scenario, reading through the scenario, and answering questions. Again, getting immediate feedback on my work. So as I work through the course, at the end of each lesson, I'll see practice exercises. This is going to be a summary of exercises that goes through all the content I learned in lesson 4. And then I'll see practice questions over here, which is more of a quiz style. You'll see the amount of questions here at the bottom. I'll answer the questions and get my immediate feedback. At the end of my unit, I'll see an objective assessment, which will be similar to that practice questions at the end, but for the entire unit. And then I'll have a create project where I'm going through and creating something and submit it. So this is what the course looks like for the learner. Once again, can navigate through the navigation from here. Another quick example, I'm going to go to Unit 4, which is planning the work. I'm going to go to Lesson 1. And when I click on Scope here, which is an ongoing activity, I have multiple choice question. I'll choose my response. In this case, I got it incorrect. If my instructor has provided the option to show solution, I can click Show Solution, see the correct answer. And if the instructor has provided the option to retry, I can then click Retry and do so again. And then I'll click See Details, and I'll be able to see my attempt and what I got correct and incorrect. And then I can move on, or I can try again as many times as my instructor has allowed. I'm going to move on to the next activity. And here I've got to fill in the blank activity. And in this case, the words are provided for me. So this is the course from the learner perspective. If I slide to the left side or the left menu, I can click on Progress, click on my course, and I'll be able to see the course progress here, as well as my current grade. I can download a report and see the weights for my specific activities, as well as individual details for each unit, broken down into each lesson. And I can even click here and see the details for that specific item. I can also click on Resources on the left side of the screen. If I'm having any technical issues and I need to submit a support ticket, I can click Help here and I can submit a ticket to the team. I can click Study Materials and click Project Management in this case. And I can see the study materials for each unit. And when I click Achievements, I'll be able to see any badges I have earned. Now note that not every course contains badges, so the project management course does not at this time, so that would be irrelevant in this case. But in general, on our platform, you'll be able to see achievements earned here. So this is the learner side of the course. I want to flip over to the instructor side of the course and go over a few helpful details. Now, one item as an instructor that's very powerful is you are going to have access to instructor resources above and beyond that digital curriculum that you just saw. So as an instructor, I can click over here on Resources, click Instructor Resources, click Project Management, and I will see a zip file that I can download. Now, I've already downloaded it, so I won't do that step here, but when I click on it, it's going to take me to a folder that looks like this. And from here, I'll see a folder for each unit as well as a course overview. One great thing about this course overview is that it's going to give you a breakdown. You'll notice different tabs at the bottom. So it's going to give me a list of each unit and what the names of each of the lessons are, as well as some estimated timings for self-study or instructor-led. And it aligns to the objective domains for the Certiport industry certification exam. So if you are encouraging your students to take that exam, you'll be able to align the objective domains here from each lesson to what is required of the exam. You'll see the objective domain description next to that, and if you are using G-Metrics practice exams, you can align these to your G-Metrics practice exams as well, so that those practice exams cover exactly what you covered in your teaching. You'll also see a tab for each unit, which will further break down into each individual activity. So the course outline just talks about the entire lesson. When you go to the unit level, it'll break down to each task, continue to give you timings, as well as the objective domains that it aligns to, and the objective domain descriptions. So this is a great way to connect what you're doing in XED with what you're striving for in the Certiport industry certification exam. You'll also see a file for course key terms, and then each unit you'll see a learning plan. The learning plan looks like this. You'll get one of those for each unit. And then within each lesson, you're going to get unplugged activities for a day where you may not have internet, not have access to computers, not have electricity, something like that. You could print these out and have these unplugged activities available for students. And then within each lesson, you're going to get study guides, answer keys, and a PowerPoint presentation. So you're welcome to use this PowerPoint presentation in your class, or simply pull individual slides to work with students individually or as a group. But you will have each of these presentations, not for the 6 units, but for each lesson inside of the units. Furthermore, as an instructor, you'll see reports, and when I click on reports, I'll click on the course, or click on the group, and then I'll click on the course, and then I can slide down and I can see a list of each of my students, what unit they're on, their summary, their overall grade, and there's 4 different types of reports. As I go from left to right, those reports get more detailed. When I go to unit progress, I can select a specific unit, a specific lesson, and see the unit average, the amount of tasks completed, the score on the practice exercises. I can download this and I can run a full progress report, which will be the best report to use for your grading or your grade book. Another powerful note is that the XED is LTI compliant, and it is compatible and fully integratable into Canvas as well as Gmetrics. And we also have books available. We have an ebook and print option available for you to access the course as well. So the goal upon taking this course is you can take the Certiport Industry Certification exam and earn your credential to show that you have mastered the material from project management. As an instructor, when I'm creating my courses, I can create those based on group. And I might call it the name of my class, whatever my class is called. I don't need a description. I choose a start date and I choose an end date for my group. A learner limit, this does not affect the amount of licenses I have, but simply is the maximum amount of learners that can join. I always recommend instructors to put this number a little bit higher than the amount of students sitting in your classroom in case you get new students. Upon choosing my course, and you'll see levels here, but you'll want to keep all 5 of those levels checked. I'll click save and get a group key. This is how I connect my learners to the group. I can come back to this page at any point and adjust the end date or the learner limit. And then I can adjust the parameters as well. So what I want to emphasize here, this is a powerful differentiation tool, is that I may have one class, one group of 20, 30, 40 students sitting in a classroom with me, but I can differentiate among those students. For example, if this is my first cohort, project management, first period, first block, 9:15 class, evening class, whatever you call your class or your group or your course would go here. However, if I have 3, 4 students or 1 or 2 students that might need some different parameters than everybody else, for example, more retries, the ability to see the solution, certain different things that I'll go over here, you can adjust those even within the same class by making different groups. So I can make a first cohort project management group, and I can make a second one with a similar name and adjust the weights. Here I'm putting the amount that each different type of activity weighs toward the grade for the course. You're welcome to make changes here. However, if you make changes here, I highly recommend you make those changes prior to starting the course with students. For each lesson, you can determine how many attempts they have. These are those individual tasks, as well as if the student can see the solution and retry after checking their answers. You can also determine if they're going to start on the study materials and then move over to the task, or start on the task and then move over to the study materials as needed. You can also require successful completion. Use your teacher judgment here, because if you don't give them multiple attempts and you require successful completion, a student could get an answer wrong and get stuck and not be able to move on. So use your judgment as you're setting your parameters. For your practice exercises and practice questions, these are at the end of the lesson. You can also separately determine how many attempts, if the student can see the solution, and if they can retry after they're checking answers. And if you can choose to adjust their point total if they get a score on their second or third try. For example, if they get a perfect score on the second attempt, You can make it so they get 90% of that score or 80%, moving their way down. If you allow more than 3 attempts, it'll default to a third try for subsequent attempts. So I can adjust these settings here, and I could make additional groups even within the same class to differentiate. Maybe I want to give certain students additional attempts or unlimited attempts, and maybe some students it would be beneficial to see the solution, while for other students it would be detrimental for them to see the solution and retry. And you know that as an instructor of your students best, and you can make these adjustments and you can change these as the course goes on to best fit your unique situation. When you're ready to get your students connected to the course, you can provide them with the group key and have them register at experienced.com, or you can use our import user tool and click here and submit a spreadsheet to get the learners into the system. Alternatively, if you're using Geometrics or Canvas, you can use those integration methods to get your students connected to the course. We are excited to provide this course for you. We're excited to partner with you in learning that leads towards certification. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and we look forward to engaging with you in the future.